You don't have to be a makeup artist to do your makeup and do it well. Today's video is not a tutorial because I am not a makeup artist or a makeup professional. Today is just a get ready with me for my everyday makeup routine. And hopefully you'll be inspired to go and play in some makeup. It really is just another layer of adding to your look and helping you look your absolute best and feel your most confident regardless of the scenario. Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome if it's your first time here, and welcome back to all my returning fashion beauties. I'm Elle, and on this channel, we're all about slaying a look and saving a coin. So if that sounds like your vibe, I know you're gonna love it here. Let's get dressed. Actually, let's play in some makeup. I've already done my skincare, and so I'm headed out to dinner with my kids. And so this is just my everyday face so I can look polished and we can go out and have a nice dinner. I'm using the Mario Badescu rose water, and I usually spray this just to give my face a bit more moisture. You can air dry it, you can use a fan. My fan will be here, so if you hear this, I'm just drying down some makeup or I'm drying down a product that I just recently applied. So first things first, you want to make sure that your face is not only hydrated, but that it's primed so that the makeup can actually last throughout the day. So I'll be using the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin. This is the powder serum, water power serum, excuse me. And it is amazing at absorbing oil and just making sure that the texture is smooth. And then this is the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. And I put this on also to maintain any oil absorption, but also just to keep the makeup smooth as I apply it. This is actually one of my favorite products. It comes out like a little dropper. Some people, I've seen them just put it directly on their face. I like to put it on my fingers. My hands are definitely clean, but I like to make sure that I'm able to rub it in, and I put it everywhere. And surprisingly, because it's liquid, you wouldn't think that it would dry down the way that it does. But Danessa Myricks products go-tos for smooth skin all the time. And that takes no time at all to absorb. And then I go ahead in with the milk primer. And you guys can see my skin here. Looking in the viewfinder. You can see my skin here. I have some hyperpigmentation, which we're actually going to just get rid of completely. And my hair is tied up so that I can get the makeup into the hairline and wherever else it needs to be. But you can see instantly it starts to mattify my skin and mattify my face. Looks pretty good. All right, so my next step, recent product that I started using in my routine is actually going to be this e.l.f. Camo is the name of the color, e.l.f. color corrector. I've seen a lot of girlies use this, and what I noticed is that if you have my skin complexion even a little bit darker, you want to go with the orange. It comes in yellow, it comes in, I think I've seen a green, a pink, and it just basically diffuses any darkness that's actually on your skin. Turning on my light on my mirror so that you can just make sure that all the hyperpigmentation is covered before you really even start your makeup application. So, like I said, I have some hyperpigmentation here, so I'm going to just go in, cover that up. You see it? And it's orange. And at first, I was like, how is this supposed to help? I wear glasses as well, so I always have a little indentation here. I actually put some right underneath here. I don't know if everybody always puts it there. And if you guys have any tips, please feel free to leave them in the comments. I'm open to any tips, like I said, because I'm not a professional. If I could be applying something better, girl, let me know. We out here helping each other. All right. So those are my main places that I have really any hyperpigmentation. And once you do that, it's pretty creamy, but it's thick. So I don't let it sit too long before I actually go ahead and just blend it out. Find my brush. And this is actually a Sephora brush number 71. It's kind of like a flat tip brush. And I just pat it in with a light hand, same way you would do any concealer. And this is a step, like I said, I just recently added this in. So this is not something necessarily that you need to do, but for somebody like me who wants the full coverage, I'm a full coverage babe, so I like everything to be covered, or I have one nothing and I just have my bare skin, which is beautiful the way it is, even with the hyperpigmentation. Big flex is definitely having great skin. So even though I have that hyperpigmentation, my skin is sensitive. So if I get any mark, any blemish, it just turns into a spot and it takes a couple of weeks to go away. That's just how my face has always been. Pass it on to my kids or babies, but that's that. And as you guys can see, it blends into the skin. Doesn't look like it really is doing much, but you don't see it as stark as it was. So like I said, I just usually pat it in because we're actually going to put concealer and foundation right on top of it. And I feel like I need a little more right there, right on that little spot. That looks good. All right, so next up, Normally, I wanted to show you guys for my everyday, I use the Nessa Myrix. This is the Yummy Skin, and she has a universal, which is completely clear, which I have as well. But I actually use shade number 9. And then the other one that I love that I use all the time is going to be House Labs in shade 490 for my complexion. And I actually can use this in the summer and in the winter. Even when my skin changes, it still kind of blends. So I love this. Super creamy, but it maintains the oil as well for me. But today, one, because I'm filming for you guys, and also because I'm going out to dinner and I want my makeup to look as polished as possible, I'm going to be using the Dior Backstage. This you can use, I think this is face and body. You can use everywhere. If you have a tattoo you want to cover, you add a couple of layers and it will cover absolutely everything. So I usually just, this is my Makeup by Mario brush, which is dual-sided, and it's clean, but the brown will never come out. This is the concealer side. This is the foundation side. I usually do maybe 2 to 3 applications of just a couple of dots because this makeup oxidizes, and I just pat it into the skin. And I think for me, I like for my makeup to look pretty skin-like, especially when I'm first applying it. You're gonna add powders and things like that, but you want to make sure, this is my second application, you want to make sure that you get the application that you like and that you want. I like a full coverage beat. That's just me. And if I'm looking over to the side, you guys, I'm sorry. I have hyperpigmentation on my neck also from eczema and just honestly plucking out hairs. So it's actually going away. I've been visiting my dermatologist and I've gotten laser and gotten pretty much rid of most of the hairs. But once they turn white, the laser can't pick them up. So I'm still plucking or finding other methods to get rid of it. And this will be my last application. I still like for my moles to show. I still like for my face to look like my face. And the goal for me with makeup is just my face, but better. Some people like to have a whole different face. I'm not big on contour. I'm not anti-contour. I do a little something, but I don't, my cute little nose. It stays pretty much the way it is, but I do play with the shade and the contrast where the light hits on my face. Just a little bit. I don't go crazy with it. That's because I'm not a professional. If I learned how to do it more, I probably would be more apt to do it in different instances. And as we move, I'm throwing this stuff back in my makeup bag. So I don't touch the foundation again. You won't see me touch it. Now for my concealer, I actually use 2. This is the House Labs in shade 43. This is very close to my skin tone. So if I wanted to do a no makeup look and I wasn't using the Danessa Myrix blurring balm, I would actually use this and just hit it on different spots where the hyperpigmentation is under my eyes. And that probably would be it. And then I also add Too Faced in Maple for just an extra brighter eye. I'm not super bright. I don't bake or anything like that, but I do like to make sure that my under eye has some elevation and brightness because I do have some hollowness. So I get that again where I get that structure on my nose. I don't go all the way up into the corner of my eye, but I definitely hit very close. And that's my preference. Not everybody does that. I'm at my big age and I find that this concealer specifically is very hydrating and it just does something to the eye. I love the sponge applicator. When I first got it, I want to say last year or the year before, whenever she came out with it, they used to break all the time. I don't know if I was just being too rough or what, but now, no problems at all. All right. And then I hit the corner right here with this brighter shade. Again, this is Maple. Now, this, unlike the House Labs concealer, dries relatively fast. So you don't need to leave it for too long before you actually blend it out. And that's typically where I hit it. In the bag it goes because I don't need it again. All right. Then I go ahead and blend that down and up, and I sweep it up. I hit the top lid because my lids are actually dark. I have hooded eyelids, which I just learned last year. Never knew that. But as you can see, and I just try to tap it with a light hand. And I hope you guys can see the face is really even. It's brighter, but my face still looks like my face. And it looks very dewy still. So if you're an oily girl and you see that, you might think, oh my God, it's going to get really slick later on. But we apply more products so it doesn't happen. So now I'm going to go ahead and do my brows. I actually do the brows in a compact so I can see it closely. And my brows actually do not match. This one, I lost some hair when I was in 6th grade. Shout out to Shanice. I actually wanted a line in my eyebrow and my mom told me no. So we used a playing card to put it in and the hair never grew back. So this one is just a smidge shorter than this one. So that's why this one's my favorite. I don't do much. I'm thinking about getting micro shading or blading. I think blading is the one that's more like a tattoo. but the micro shading is more of not henna, but just you apply a dye per se, like a tint almost that lasts a little longer. I think I want to do that because I just want to wake up with my eyebrows done, y'all. I don't want to have to do them every day. But my daughter said I'm too picky, and I agree with her. And if I don't like it, I'm gonna want to take it off. This pencil is actually from one of my girlfriends. She had a makeup line, like a 5 minute face. And so this is actually the last one. She doesn't have it right now. And I'm going to go back to my Anastasia Beverly Hills because in dark brown, because I love this stick. Because if you can see, your girl has no edges, none. Blame my mama. My kids have beautiful full eyebrows. So I just kind of go on my regular line. I don't do too much arching or anything, and I just fill in where it looks really sparse because I'm going to go over it with a brush. But you instantly can see the difference between the two. And this one I have to pull out just a bit more. But it takes practice. I get them the way that I like them because I like them natural. I love when I see the girlies with really full brows and they can use brow gel and they stick everything up. Yeah, that's not my brows. I don't have enough to do all of that. I do use brow gel after. You guys will see, just to kind of keep them in place so I can continue doing my makeup because I do like them to look as natural as possible, but with some color and adding some dimension to my face. And I think I usually accomplish that. I don't always go in with concealer underneath, but I do need to actually, I don't really pluck them either, but they need a little more shaping, I would say, especially since my pencil is getting kind of low. So we'll play with that with the concealer. Bring this over just a bit more. She is looking short. And it's not like no hair here, but I'm using the brush. And so I let it, and when I do the brow gel, I don't really touch the front. So that's the brows for now. Let me put a little concealer actually underneath just to clean it up. Where's my other little brush? So flat brush, and I take my same concealer that's kind of my shade, and I just hit that sponge and I kind of work it in. Get the compact again. And it just kind of cleans up the line without really making, some people do like a real bright one. I don't need a bright one because I feel like it's going to be too stark against my skin. I just want it to look a little cleaner. And I think that looks all right. So far, I hope you guys are following along, especially if you're not a makeup girly and you want to learn how to do makeup. I actually learned a lot of things on YouTube, just watching other girls do their makeup and then trying it and seeing what worked for me. And it's not one size fit all. There are certain techniques like patting it in instead of dragging it necessarily in some instances, or, you know, highlighting different parts of your face. That stays pretty consistent, but what works on your actual face may not be the same thing of somebody else. So this is just what I do. And if you're just starting out, you can try it and then tweak it as you go along. Now, we're going to actually put our powder on our face. So typically, I use the Fit Me by Maybelline. This is really good because it's my shade, my color. And I typically don't have to, it has a mirror in here as well. I don't have to necessarily go back in because the lines are the lines that I have. It does, I don't have more lines because that concealer was very hydrating. And I just pat it in and I bring it down, and it really just helps to mattify the face. And I hope you guys can see it looks a little more matte, a little more powdered. I'm gonna do this everywhere you put the concealer. And before I forget, I'm actually gonna do my brow gel because I did forget. This is Anastasia Beverly Hills, and I go over with the brow gel, and I like to set it in place. It's really liquidy. And I told you guys I don't go all the way in the front just because, girl, it'll be gone. The next powder that I actually use for under my eye and the rest of my face is going to be this Laura Mercier. It's a loose powder. It's translucent honey. It looks kind of yellow, of course, but this helps to brighten under the eye. And I just put some in there. Sometimes I have to pour some back in, but I dab my little sponge in there. I wipe a little off and I rub it on my hand to warm it up. And then I just get it here. And I drag it upward. Same thing again. I go in 2 times and then I don't go in again. Whatever I use on my face will be whatever's on this sponge. I go in the small lines. Yes, this is where I know I look like Pennywise from It, the clown, but this is where you trust the process, okay? Trust the process. I'm very oily, so I hit all my spots. I don't really touch the nose again until I do my highlighter, and I do a little bit of, not even contouring, but a little bronzer. So while that's there, I actually go in with my, where is she? This is Rare Beauty by Selena Gomez. It's a bronzer stick. which people use as a contour, as do I. This is called On the Horizon. It's pretty brown. And this will help to bring some color back to your face. And I do it underneath this chin, so I don't be looking double chin. And I literally put it right here, right where the eye is. If you can see, that's where I start. And I go up. And because I'm going to blend that up, I went a little far here, but that's okay. And this was the Rihanna Fenty Mocha Mami. This is actual bronzer as well, but I use this as my contour. And I go in with this flat brush. I have an angled one too, but I find this one, I have a little more control over this one. And so this is like going over that cream. And then when I get here, kind of get up. And this allows these two to meet. And it brings some color back to my face with all that powder. I usually do like a two tier. Because we're going to add blush and stuff as well. I don't know if you guys see the meats. I'm pushing that back into the hairline. But this, I'm going to pull it. All right. And then whatever's on here, I don't even put any more. I slide down my nose. And I have a dorsal hump. That's a little knot that's right there. I had that since I was a kid. So it's never fully like straight. It goes on a little bit of an angle. But this helps add a little shadows and lights to it. We're going to take a fluffy brush. This is from It Cosmetic. And we're going to use my Charlotte Tilbury. This is a Finishing Power shade 4, which is, I believe, the deepest shade. And I usually just tap it and I go over my eye, very soft with a very light hand. And that's just kind of brush some of that powder off. And then I kind of blend everything. And I don't know why, I just move my face in different places. Can't forget about the neck. All right. So that's pretty much is the regular application. Almost everything is on. And now we're going to move on to some blush. This is Rare Beauty again. This is the color Alive, which is kind of corally rosy orange, if that makes sense. And I'm using a Sephora blush brush to put that on. And I like a good blush. I did not always think that Black women should wear blush in my youth. Because I'm like, Black women don't have rosy cheeks. Why are we putting blush on? But it just really makes the face appear so vibrant if you do it right. And you do it, you know, how you want to. It's at your discretion. You want to have some color, but you don't want to look clown-like. I mean, that's what I say. So I get that cheek a little rosy. I'll put a little touch on my nose just to keep it streamlined. And we're probably going to go back in and add a bit more. After we do our eyeshadow is when I put my first layer of setting spray. And that's because I do only dry setting spray, like the one size at the very end when I have my mascara on, because I hate for it to like run me crazy. So we are using the Anastasia Soft Glam palette for eyes, and you can tell the colors that I love because I have literally hit pan on like all of them. So for my eyes, for my everyday, I use Mulberry and I use Sienna. It's kind of burgundy, rosy red, and kind of corally almost orange. And because I have hooded eyebrows, hooded eyelids, I usually go up my eye just so that you are able to see that I have something on. And we already dusted the concealer over my eyelid, so this will actually stick a lot better. And I get in that crease a bit. You can see it's very subtle. Sometimes I want a more dramatic eye. I have tons of palettes, but this is like my go-to for every day. You guys can see that because it looks vibrant to me here, and I'll be able to see like when we're all the way done. So now we're going in with the Sienna, which is like more red and orangey kind of coral. I'll show you guys again. So this is the Mulberry, and that's the Sienna right here. Love it. And I just kind of work that up into the crease. It's kind of like you layered them. And that is what it looks like. And I think today I'm going to do a nude lip. So I think that'll go better with my outfit. Now that I put the blush on and my eyeshadows on, I'm going to go over with the Charlotte Tilbury powder again. And that brushes away in case any of the shadow fell on my face. And we're going to do more blush to make sure that it actually shows. Because what's the purpose of putting blush if it doesn't even show? And we're going to do some highlighter. And this highlighter has been through the war. This is a glow highlighter that I got on like Sephora points. And you see the top is literally with Scotch tape. And I don't care. I usually just do it with my finger because I'm not doing that much. I'm literally going down the center of my nose very subtly. And then I do like a and I shape it out so that it's just at the tip of my nose. But that you're still, like when I take pictures, you're able to see this brightness. When I do videos, you're able to see it. See how it just gives like a dimension? I don't typically touch that again. I leave it just like that. Now we're gonna go in with the mascara. Like, I don't know if I want more blush, you guys. Maybe that's enough. We'll see. I'll add more if I need to. All right, and so I'm actually gonna do it here. So I don't know how to do lashes. I think lashes look really great on a lot of the girlies, but for me, strip lashes is what I would use, and I never can get them to stick. I have a decent lash length though, so this typically works for me. I mean, you instantly can see the difference between the two eyes. And I usually do this and I do my lower lash, but I like to do the top first just to see. Sometimes I don't do my lower lash. And I just blink it in just to elongate them, add a little color and dimension. When I put it on my lower lash line, it literally looks like I put on eyeliner, and I don't do eyeliner. So it definitely gives a different, more spicy look. All right, y'all, we looking like something. All right, actually, I'm gonna use my compact because I need to see. Because I find I often get it on my actual eye instead of just on my lash, which drives me crazy. I think I want a little more here. All right, guys, it's looking like we are done. And I'm gonna be sure to make sure that I come back and show you how everything looks. Now, I was supposed to do my wet setting spray first, but I was yapping my gums, so that's what I get. So for right now, I'm just gonna put my hand like over my eyes. This helps to blend the colors together, like the powders. Like, so I usually use my fan just to help it dry a little faster. And that was the Charlotte Tilbury finishing setting spray. It's very wet, so it blends the powders together so you don't look ashy. I know some people like to just use the one size. Not me, because I like my face to be mattified but still look like skin at the same time. Oh, I'm very picky about that. I want you to know I have on makeup, but I want to look like, oh wow, she's pretty without makeup, you know? That's looking good. Okay, it looks all right, you guys. What y'all think? I'm gonna show you the finished look and everything anyway, but I'm gonna take my hair down. All right, got that. And then now, last step before we do our lip, one side setting spray. Literally like spraying hairspray on your face, but that makeup doesn't move. And I'm okay with that. I think I want to do a nude lip today. So the nude lip for me involved the Makeup Forever Limitless Brown liner. I have a ton of them, but I like the ones that are, this one's gonna be my better one I use. And I overline my lip just a bit. Typically, if I do a red lip, that lip is bone dry. I actually have some edam on my lips from earlier, and it feels nice and moisturized. So that'll work without being like a gloss. And we're gonna use, I know it sounds crazy, 3 lipsticks. And that's just what I do for my lip combo. Ooh, I need to blend something. Hold on. All right, that's how the lip line looks. And I do like that just to soften it up. I don't mind if my liner shows. I just don't want it to be stark and harsh. So the first one we're using, I'll put the name below because you know I can't see, no glasses on. But this is by MAC. And that's just like a pretty soft pink. And if I wanted to, I could literally stop there. However, I don't want to. Next is going to be Charlotte Tilbury. And this is kind of beigey pink. And I put that in the center. And I'm more of a pinky nude lip girl as opposed to a beigey tan nude lip girl. I did like the Janae collaboration she did with the lip bar. I enjoyed that very much. 90s Fine, I believe it was called. 90s Fine. I enjoyed that because I was able to blend that in a way that I think worked for me. But for the most part, I'm down with these pinks. This is another MAC, but this is a lot lighter. I don't know if you guys can see that. And I hit the center with that. And then I usually take a peek to see if I want to add any more liner. And I actually think I don't. I'm mindful because when I put my Invisalign back in, lipstick always transfers to the Invisalign. It drives me nuts, but it is what it is. It's a necessary evil. All right, you guys. And so that is the face. Let me go do my hair and get my clothes on, and then I'm going to come back and show you guys the full how everything looks. All right, beautiful people. This is the finished makeup look. Rocking the bob today. My little asymmetrical shirt. Hopefully you guys like it, and I look forward to seeing your comments and what you think. And are you wearing makeup on the daily? Are you wearing makeup, only when you go out? Let me know what kind of beauty content would you like to see from me, because a lot of these things I got on sale. I got a lot at the Sephora sale. Some of them were drugstore items like the elf. So you don't have to spend a lot of money. There are some things you can do, there are some things you can't, but for the most part you can find comparable items to make an everyday face or to make a look. If you enjoy the content, do all the things: like, subscribe, share, watch again for some more content. And I look forward to seeing you guys and interacting with this community. Remember, your look speaks volumes before you ever say a word. So if you do anything, get dressed, but also play in some beauty. See you next time.